Hello everyone, this is Jack, and today we're going to be doing some playing around with some Datacrons. So first we're going to go over what are Datacrons, how do I see what Datacrons are, then we're going to go into the mechanics of Datacrons, and then at the end we'll start dipping into maybe some particular teams to take for GAC and TW. So first off, what are Datacrons? The way I see it is Datacron is a leadership. It's like an additional leadership that you can add to the team. And how you add it to the team, here we are in Grand Arena Championship, GAC defense. And when you hit your edit defense, you can actually start looking at adding the Datacrons onto the teams. And it opens up, so if you edit one of the teams, you can see a sixth slot is now there as an add Datacron. So I can come in here and say, oh, let's go ahead and equip, and we'll set, and yeah, you can see I've got a 5 team there with a Datacron at the end there. So the way I see it is it's that sixth slot. And actually, when you think about it, when you were doing the light side and dark side battles, and you're able to go in, you were able to basically pick an ally here that had more leaderships that you can use. And there it is. You can see a sixth slot there. That's basically what Datacrons are. It's using that sixth slot, and it's an additional leaderships. And the only difference between this is what you're looking at with using an allies tune here and a Datacron is a leadership that you build. It's you create. It's a leadership that is very flexible. So let's actually look into it. To access Datacrons, you go into the character slot, you go all the way down, and you can see Datacrons are there. Right now I've got 2 of them. I had 8 once upon a time, but I went ahead and got rid of 6 so I can get some more stuff. And we'll talk about that, dismantling Datacrons. So when you look at a Datacron, let's not look at this one yet. Let's look at this one. When you have a Datacron, and it's the leadership, the stats that you're creating is through rolling. And when you roll something, you can find a stat. If you look in the far right, you can find target stat points with health, protection, crit damage, potency, tenacity, health skill. When you initially roll one or re-roll it later on, you'll get one of these stats, and the stat percentages is in that range there. So I created, I had a Datacron level 1, and I got only 16% potency. That's actually the lower end of the potency range, so that's not very, very good. But even so, I kept going, and I rolled it a second time up for the level 2, and I got a health steal of 75%. That's like right there in the middle there. And then I rolled it again, and I can keep rolling it, keep getting into the higher levels of a Datacron, all the way up to level 9 Datacron. So in between, you can see unlock bonus stat, unlock bonus stat, unlock bonus stat, unlock bonus stat. You'll have 6 opportunities for 6 stats. And the farther you go down, the higher the stats can get. So for example, whereas level 1 and level 2 were only health of 1 to 5% bonus, the unlocked 4 and 5 were 5 to 10%, and the 7 and 8 were 10 to 20% health bonus. So as you go down, the stats do increase and do improve. And in between, you have additional stats. And these additional stats are very, very specific to certain factions. So for example, the level 3 is for dark side characters or light side characters. When you initially roll it into level 3, it'll be a random selection between a dark side and a light side. Furthermore, down the table, a level 6 would be specific factions. And this particular round of Datacrons, because Datacrons will be temporary for 3 months and then reset for another faction, most likely. The faction this time is going to be either Inquisitorius, Galactic Republic, and Resistance. So it'll be stat bonuses for a specific faction for Inquisitorius or Galactic Republic or Resistance. And then all the way down to level 9, is very specific characters. So it'll be either second sister or fifth brother or Jedi Master Kenobi, Ayla Secura, Grandmaster Yoda, Resistance Trooper, Rey, or Finn. So it'll be specific. And when you first unlock the level 3, for example, dark side characters, the level 6 will then be a dark side faction. You won't get a light side faction when you hit dark side character, or dark side, I guess, alignment. Thank you, alignment. You'll have a dark side faction when you hit dark side alignment. And of course, when you hit dark side faction, you'll also only be able to use dark side characters here in specific characters. So there won't be any weird you'll get a JMK specific dark side character and Inquisitorius. It'll all kind of align together when you unlock it in full. So let's look at the other one, the Datacron that I've got so far down to level 6. A Basically what you've got is you've got a leadership at this point of it has 20% potency, almost 7% crit damage, which is good, good, good. And I went ahead and unlocked one for light side characters. Now, let's talk about the actual bonuses you get for level 3, level 6, and level 9 because they do vary, they do range. So the button that I just pushed was you see in the top left, Treatise Inquisitorius, there's an eye next to it. You can click that eye, and you can then click alignment, and now you can read all the different options that the light side and dark side for level 3, what the mechanics are. Now, each of these bullet points is an option. You don't get all 5, you'll get one of the 5. And if, let's say that you rolled light side, and you say and you get the third one, whenever light side allies danger stun an enemy, they recover 10% health and protection. And you're like, okay, that's okay. And you're thinking like, well, I actually kind of prefer the 5th one. Whenever light side allies start their turn, for each enemy with fewer than 4 debuffs, that ally gains 30% potency at the end of the turn. Maybe you want that one instead. So you can actually sit down and re-roll for that. The only problem is when you are a light side alignment here and you want to re-roll, it will re-roll to the dark side first, and then you have to re-roll from the dark side back to the light side to choose 2 of the options. So when you re-roll, I wish I had the currency to show you, but I don't. Oh, do I? Oh, because you have to fully unlock it. Yeah, of course. I don't want to spend the currency anyways. Okay, no, I don't want to spend the currency. Yeah. So when you re-roll, right now it's got light side, and I'm thinking like I don't want that specific light side. I want another light side bullet point, one of those other 5s. Then I can have to first re-roll to the dark side, right? And then I have to re-roll from the dark side to the light side. Okay. But when you first hit the re-roll button, it's going to show you 3 options. It's going to show a new window, and the left side will be the current option that you currently have. And you can stick with the current option that you have. And then the middle and the right would be 2 new options to choose from on the dark side. And you select one, or you can keep the one you currently have. But if you select one and then you re-roll it, it'll show the new dark side one that you currently have, plus 2 new light ones to choose from. You see what I mean? So when you re-roll, you can't go from one light side bullet point directly to another light side bullet point. It'll only go from light side to dark side to light side. So it's very annoying that way. So to choose a different light side bullet point, you technically have to re-roll it twice. And that's still unlikely, 33% chance to get the one that you currently want. So a little bit downside. As far as I can tell, that's how it's working because I've re-rolled 3 or 4 times now, and it's always switching from one to the next. So it's a little bit annoying. Okay, so when you upgrade a little bit more, level 4, level 5, I got some really good health steals there. That's a lot of health steal. It's 342 health steal. It's amazing. And then you've got level 6. Level 6 is a specific faction, Galactic Republic. Resistance or Inquisitorius. Since I've got a light side Datacron at this point, it chose between Galactic Republic and Resistance. And then from the Galactic Republic and Resistance are 6 bullet points there to choose from. So faction, Galactic Republic, and you can see there's 6 bullet points, 6 different leaderships here. You could think of them as leaderships to choose from. There's the whenever Galactic Republic allies critical hit, they recover 12% health, yada yada. There's a retaliate one, yada yada, keep going, because there's 6 of them there. And it works the same way that if you get one, for example, I got whenever Galactic Republic allies grant a buff to another ally, that ally gains 10% turn meter. Not actually too bad for a lot of Galactic Republic allies. For example, 501st, think of Rex. Rex, when he forms up, he gives tenacity up to the other team members, him and the other teammates. So he just gave 10% turn meter to every single person on the team. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not like a huge buff, but I'll take 10% turn meter on my clone troopers, for example. Or you could throw that on a JMK team, and the JMK team throws lots of buffs out to all the other tunes, and they're getting constant 10% turn meter gain. Actually, that's actually not true, is it? Since I think JMK limits turn meter gain. That's actually not true. So this would be a bad Datacron for a JMK team, for example. So if I don't like this, I can re-roll it. I can literally right now re-roll it. It'll re-roll for 100,000 currency. 20. We'll go into what that currency is. What I got 77 of them, but you can re-roll it. But if I try to re-roll it right now, it's going to give me an option of 2 resistance. It's going to switch over to a resistance faction and 2 options of the bullet points there. So if I go to faction, resistance, it'll show 2 options of these 6 options to choose from. And maybe I don't want to be resistance. Maybe I want this to stay GR. That means that if I don't want that particular bullet point, then I have to re-roll it again. Roll it into the resistance, and then roll it again to the Galactic Republic and hope I don't get the same exact Datacron, which I think they said that they're going to prevent. So maybe they're going to prevent that. So the re-rolling will probably be a lot of the effort. I mean, I already had 8 unlocked Datacrons. To actually get the Datacrons, it's not too difficult. We'll talk about where you get the splicing material. We'll talk about where you get the actual Datacrons. But the actual getting the actual Datacron is not too much. It's not too hard. But you should have quite a bit of them. You spend your own money, but I'm not spending any money because it's all temporary, right? When you're taking a look at Datacrons, you can see the title on the top says Treaties Inquisitorius with an I, and then next to the I it says active until 9/4/2022. They are temporary. They will take all your Datacrons away, get rid of them. They'll give you splicing material for them. Great, thanks, I guess. And then you'll restart with a whole new set of Datacrons for a whole new set of factions. Maybe next time it'll be Empire and Old Republic and I don't know, another new faction maybe they come out with, Inquisitorius. So it's all temporary, and that's the reason why I'm not really putting a lot of crystals into it, and 2, at the same time though, they are pretty serious buffs. These are, you look at this, and this is giving a team 20% potency, 6% crit damage, a nice little benefit of offense for light side characters, a ton of health steal, and a decent Galactic Republic 10% turn meter gain. And I can keep going. These 2 stats, 7 and 8, are pretty serious as well. I mean, if I get 15% protection and 15% protection, that's 30% protection. That's amazing. And then the unlocked character mechanic. This level 9 is very specific to a specific character, and there are 8 of them. You've got 2 Inquisitorius people, fifth brother and second sister, and then you have 3 GRs, Galactic Republics. JMK, Ayla, and GMY, and you have three resistance. You have Ray, Finn, and Resistance Trooper, and each of them has an option to choose from. You've got two here, two possible mechanics for Finn, three for Ray, two for GMY, yada 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 yada. So you can re-roll those as well. I haven't gotten to that point, so I don't know what it looks like to re-roll them, but I would imagine it's probably the same in that, let's say that you have a Galactic Republic. Let's say you have Galactic Republic characters and you unlock this character mechanic, you get three to choose from: JMK, Ayla, GMY. If you get JMK, but you get the wrong, let's say you JMK, but you get the wrong one, the one you don't want, you would technically probably have to re-roll it twice, once to another character and then once back to JMK to try to get the one you want. Yeah, it's a lot of re-rolling. So I feel like that's where a lot of the effort's going to be based off of, is that you're going to unlock probably 3, 4 really strong ones and then try to re-roll them to try to make them like really optimal for a specific team. Now, the number of Datacrons that you can have is 30. I've got 2. You can have a max of 30 here. And ideally, you should have 30. And let me explain. Even though you only have, 8 specific characters, and 2 of them were, 2 of them were Inquisitorius, you technically you can have a Datacron. For example, you can have this Datacron, and I can just stop right here. I don't have to keep unlocking it. This is a 16% potency, 74% health steal, and a dark side offense boost. I can just throw this on my Sith Empire team. It does not have to be for a specific character. I don't have to unlock it at level 9. I can literally sit here, edit defense, and let's say my LV team is there. Let me take it off because I did an equip. Okay, set. And let me go to my dark side here. Here's my Sith Empire. And let me go ahead and just add that one. And whenever dark side allies start their turn with at least 2 buffs that can be dispelled, they gain 5% offense. Like, well, okay, great. This team doesn't really get buffs, but I can just go and apply this Omicron to this team. And it's going to give that team 16% potency, no matter if they're dark side or light side. It's going to give them 74% health steal, no matter if they're light side or dark side. And it's going to give that 4 dark side characters the possibility of getting some offense. Now, this Sith Empire team doesn't really get buffs, so I would say it's a bad Datacron for them. But even so, maybe I want the health steal. You could have a Datacron on every single team on defense and every single team on offense. So you kind of think in your head, if you got 11 defenses set for Grand Arena and you got 11 offenses for Grand Arena, then you need 22, right? Take it a little bit further, Territory Wars, you set 10 on defense and you take 20 on offense. That's 30. I mean, you can have a max of 30. You can have every single team that you take have a Datacron. So ideally, you should have a good amount of Datacrons. And realistically, because of the temporary nature of them, you probably want to limit. You want to limit how far you take some of these Datacrons because they don't make sense to go any further. For example, this is only for Inquisitorius. I don't give a flying whoop about Inquisitorius because I have them all at gear 3 or 3 stars, gear 10. And so I'm going to stop at 5. And then I'm going to put this on a random dark side team that wants potency, health steal, and whatever other 2 stats I can get. I'm going to unlock at level 5, stop there, and go to the next Datacron. Because I don't care. I don't care about the Inquisitorius so much. I care about having a strong team like my LV team or my Sith Empire team or whatever, my bounty hunter team, for example. Think about the bounty hunters, Finnick lead bounty hunters. There are some light side there, there's some dark side there, but maybe I throw out, maybe I get a couple good buffs of crit damage, maybe potency, or protection or health steal. These are all good stats for a bounty hunter team. For Finnick to take down an LV team makes it that much easier. So you definitely want to make sure that you collect Datacrons, don't ignore them, and at the very minimum, probably throw it to level 5. After that, it's only a select number of teams that need the 6, 7, 8. The Galactic Republic, the Resistance, and the Inquisitorius that need the 6, 7, 8 upgrades. Because, I mean, you could technically, if you really want the 7 and 8 stats on a random team, you can certainly do it, but you're talking that is very expensive in terms of the stuff that you need. You can have probably 2 or 3 Datacrons at the same level of just getting that one Datacron level 8. So it's just because they're temporary and because they're not unlimited, you probably just want to limit it to level 5 and go to the next Datacron. If you start collecting a numerous amount of Datacrons, okay, then start going for the 7s and 8s. But frankly, it's just not worth it to do that. And then to bring something all the way to level 9, I mean, that's very, very specific. Frankly, because of how expensive it is, I would only do that for a very few teams. For example, JMK, Ray, and you can make an argument for GMY and Finn. You can make an argument for those two, for GMY and Finn. But certainly for JMK, certainly for Ray, those are the two big ones, of course. They're your GLs. And then you can make a strong argument for GMY and Finn. Um, and let's talk about those. Let's talk about the teams. So I went ahead and created some squads. Let's talk about the GRs first. So for the GRs, like I said, JMK could not really need one, but I mean it would be very, very powerful. And I went ahead and wrote 1-3 there, that notation, JMK 1-3 in the title, because when you look at JMK's list here, he's got 3 possibilities. The first one says, while Jedi Master Kenobi has high ground, all allies ignore protection. What? I mean, you tear through every team out there. The only team that wouldn't really affect is like an LV team that doesn't have protection, right? But I mean, JMK doesn't really need help to beat a team, but with that on, you probably don't even need Cat. Why would you need Cat? You would go through them like knife through butter. You probably don't even need Cat. You just throw Cat on a Ray team or something. Yeah, that's a very strong stat bonus there. And then the third one there, third one says the first time each Jedi Master Kenobi gains ultimate charge, they gain an additional 6% charge. He's going to get ultimate twice as fast. That's disgusting. That's disgusting because think of a team that's always constantly healing itself up, health and protection, constantly getting assists because that's disgusting. Yeah, so any one of those 3 are awesome, of course, but I say the first one and the third one is very good. So JMK team, very, very good. I would say that should be on the list of maxing out a Datacron for a JMK team. If you wanted an Ayla team, I was trying to think about where to put her. Because remember, you can only put 1 Datacron on per team. I suppose that if you unlocked something to level 9 and you didn't get JMK, you got Ayla instead, then you could probably throw Ayla onto a JMK team, right? And as long as you can't have 2 Datacrons, but if you only have 1 Datacron and it's Ayla, then yeah, you can do that. For this particular Qui-Gon Jinn team, this is assuming you're in Grand Arena Championships. So that team there is already very good, but having Ayla there with a Datacron makes it even better. And let's just, as a reminder, what does Ayla do? Ayla Secura. She gets 1 of 2. Whenever enemy is stunned, Ayla Secura takes a bonus turn And whenever another ally recovers protection, ally secure gains foresight for 1 turn. So whenever an enemy is stunned, ally secure takes a bonus turn. That's the key one. That's probably the one you want if you throw it on Qui-Gon Jinn team. And when you're looking at the factions, there's one, two, three, four, five. Fifth down. Fifth down, yep. Whenever Galactic Republic allies use a special ability during the turn, they stun target enemy for 1 turn. So you can kind of see some of these things kind of interact with each other. Now, it'd be very difficult to roll that perfectly to get that particular one plus the ALO one. It'd be very hard to roll that on the first go. But if you start having 6, 7 of them, you got 80 to 90 days between resets on Datacrons. So there's a very good chance that you're going to have an opportunity to re-roll a couple of these. I would be very cautious on just re-rolling, for example, on the first stat. Level 1, level 2, I wouldn't re-roll those at all. It's not worth it. Because they're the weakest stats. And you probably want to be very cautious on re-rolling on the light side or dark side characters as well. Where the re-roll probably should be saved is the level 6 and the level 9. Yeah, because you're going to run out of re-rolling material. And we'll talk about where to get that stuff in the next one. So going down the squads here for Galactic Republic, you have Gas 5 of first turn. So this is a team that doesn't have a specific character to unlock the level 9, so there's no reason to max it out. But at the same time, that if you were looking to improve your 501st team to the max, think about adding think about having max protection. Imagine having a Datacron that you get. Oh, let's go to the other one. Let's imagine a Datacron that you unlock 4 and 5, all the way to 4 and 5, and you get 10% protection, 10% protection, and you get protection here, protection there. That's up to 30% protection. I mean, the 501st team is already very beefy. You add something like 20, 30% protection or health. I mean, a Datacron for them could be very meaningful. Health steal would be great. Crit damage would be awesome. Health protection would be very beefy. A Datacron for the 501st team would be very nice. Something maybe to even look to get to level 8, for example, for a 501st team. Going down the list, we of course have the Bad Batch. So the Bad Batch brings up an interesting point. So my Omega is Gear 11, 6 stars. But it's important to note, and this is one of the most important parts so you don't screw up, because Datacrons are only a one-time use per Grand Arena, per territory war, so it's important not to screw it up. When you are applying a Datacron, you have to make sure that they are roughly the same relic level. So let me go into that. So when you are unlocking stats 1, level 2, and level 3. You see on the far right of that, you see the 3, the relic 3. All your characters on the team have to be relic 3 to get those 3 stats. If you have one person that's not a relic 3, that's less than a relic 3, I should say, less than a relic 3, like relic 2, relic 1, gear 12, or less, then none of the team gets those bonuses. They all have to be relic 3 or higher to get those 3 bonuses. And continue further to get relic 5, relic 5, relic 5, relic 5. Those 5, every single character on your team has to be relic 5. They all have to be a relic 5. So it's important that if you have a relic 3, do not think you're putting a relic 5 Datacron, a level 8 Datacron on the team thinking it's all going to apply when it's not. When you have one relic 3 or one gear 12 and they're all relic 5, other teams are relic 5, it gets reverted back to the lowest denominator. So if you got one relic 3, one relic 4, one relic 5, one relic 6, one relic 7, it gets all reverted back to the lowest denominator, which in this case would be the 3 character. And so you'd still collect these 3 bonuses, but you wouldn't collect those. So it's very important to note that. Now, it's been said on the chat, at least where I was reading, that only the character, the level 9, only the specific character has to be Relic 7. So if you've got 4 Relic 5s and GMK at Relic 7 or higher, then you'll get all the stats, including the specific character one. Now, going back to the squad, that is why I don't have Omega in my Bad Batch team, because Omega is Gear 11. It would be a waste of a Datacron because I would get no stat increases whatsoever if I put my Gear 11 Omega there. Instead, I put Cody there, which is now I have an all Relic 5 team. They would all get all stats. The GMY one is actually quite interesting. So it applies to his leadership. And it's almost, for me, it almost looks like a little bit like a weak version of a Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron. You definitely want the first one. He gets 1 of 2, and you definitely want the first one. If you're rolling them, re-rolling them, you definitely want the first one. And basically, whenever Galactic Republic Jedi has foresight, they have 200% more damage. They deal 200% more damage. So that's actually pretty good. And throwing it out on a leadership, it starts to break up a Qui-Gon Jinn team. For example, like Anakin would be great there, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shakti, a tank, all good. That starts to break up the Qui-Gon Jinn team, which is why I'd probably say that the Qui-Gon Jinn would be for your Grand Arena, and the GMY would be for your Territory Wars, right? So those are basically all the GR tunes there. For the Resistance, there's only 3 Resistance teams, okay? From weakest, you got the Poe with Resistance Trooper, you got a Finn team, and you got a Rey team here. You might be able to get a 4th. Actually, you can't. You can't get a 4th out because I've got every single one of them unlocked, and the only one that's not being used here, I think, is C-3PO or something. So, the only 2 that really makes sense to get it is the first 2. Finn is actually pretty nice. The Finn team with the Vet Smuggler and Vet Chewie can actually do something. And that's because when you start adding 135 as my annotation there, when you start looking at Finn, his first one is if Finn is in the leader slot the first time each resistance ally is exposed, you can read it. Not bad. And then when you go into the faction, resistance, the third one is whenever resistance allies inflict stagger or stun on an enemy, they deal bonus damage equal to 35% enemy's max health. Well, guess what? The Han there, he does stagger. The Chewie there, he does stun. The Finn, he does stun. And I believe there was someone else that did stun there. I can't remember who else the team was, but a bunch of them are doing stuns and staggers. All right, so they're doing a bunch of health damage. And then when you do light side on the 5th one, whenever light side allies start their turn, for each enemy with fewer than 4 debuffs, the ally gains 30% potency. So basically, you're going to have a ton of potency, then a ton of stuns, and a ton of staggers with that team. It's actually not bad. You can construct a decent enough Finn team here to do some damage in both Grand Arena or Territory Wars. I wouldn't say it's your primary for sure, but I would say it's unique enough where it can actually cause some people some angst. The Rey team, no doubt. I mean, this is ridiculous. Rey should be one of your primary ones if you got her, simply because her first character one is, of course, what you're looking to do. Heir to the Jedi deals 75% more damage for each other active ally. Holy crap. That's 300% more damage. That's 4x. 4x on her ultimate. This thing is going to do so much damage. Mine already does like 700,000 damage per, for one, when one person's there, that 700,000 damage is split between the five party, the five enemies. And so right now, mine is doing like 150,000 damage per person, give or take, 200, 150, give or take. You multiply that by four, it's going to do 600,000 damage per person on the enemy. That is ridiculous. It will completely nuke the other team. It'll completely nuke them. So if you've got a Ray, that should be one of your primary ones. I think GMK team is already really, really good. And so would it really benefit? Absolutely, obviously, very, very beneficial. But I would say the Ray one would be my primary goal. I want that one first. It's the one I want first. So it'll be a little interesting to see what a Ray team with that Datacron looks like. It will look very scary because that's just one of her stats. That's just it's just one of the many stats there. Because when you mix in that, plus I had the fourth one here, whenever resistance, with the fourth bullet point down, whenever resistance allies grant a buff to an ally, that ally gains 10% true meter. Yeah, you've got JTR, you've got Holdo, you've got R2D2, you've got Ray. They're all giving buffs to everybody else. So getting a ton of turn meter there. And then the light side, the first one, whenever light side allies start to turn with at least two buffs that can be dispelled, they gain 5% offense. Let's just go add more offense to everybody as well. The Ray team could look way beyond a Galactic Legend. I'm going to say it right there. With those three, it would take. I don't even think J&K would beat it. I don't know what would beat it, but it would be probably another Datacron team, most likely. A J&K with Datacron or Ray of Datacron. Something else would have to take that down. There's no Sith Internal alive that could survive a solo, or even with WAD, or even a full team could survive a Ray that does that ultimate with 300% greater damage on that attack. There's no Sith Eternal out there that could do that. So yeah, you definitely want to aim on the Datacrons. You definitely want to aim the character ones. I would say the J&K one on the first or the third one. The Ray, the first one. That's an easy one. I mean, the other two are fine. They're good. The third one, you get the ultimate faster. That's fine, if you got that one. But the first one is sick. That is sick. So, yeah. So think of Datacrons as that six slot leadership. And you can create that leadership pretty flexible on creating it. Now, where do you get the material to create it, to unlock these? There's three major sources of these things. Four, I guess, technically speaking. So the first three. So if you go into shipments here and you scroll all the way down, you can see there's a new tab called Datacrons. And Datacrons can be unlocked using Crystal, which for this video, I unfortunately did that. And then the second way is scrolling down. You can see that Datacrons can be unlocked. Right now, I've already unlocked them all, but can be unlocked using the Shard Shop currency. So this blue currency stuff, you can use it to unlock Datacron material. And then thirdly, ally points. So you can use Datacrons to unlock. You can use ally points to unlock Datacrons. There's two major types of this material stuff. There's the Acumens. You can see Acumen Mark 1, Acumen Mark 2, Acumen Mark 3, and there's Alteration Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. The Acumens are the stuff that's actually used to upgrade. You upgrade it from level 1, level 2, level 3, all the way to level 9. And the alterations are used to re-roll level 3, re-roll level 6, re-roll level 9. And each of those unlocking and re-rolling all take the data caches, the currency, whatever. And right now I've got 150,000. You can have a max of 30 million there. And all of it takes lots of that stuff. Okay, so there's that way to get it. There's the Conquest way to get it. And inside Conquest, there's two versions of getting the material you need. The first one is after every sector. There's a bonus match here, and the bonus match can be done continuously. There's no limit to doing it, and there's no limit to the rewards. And the rewards will drop two boxes. As far as I can tell, it's always two. And the first box will be either um, a Datacron itself, or it'll be the data cache. The second box will be either the first material you need, the acumens, or the second material you need, the alterations. When you go down into the sectors, that stuff can get they give you more. They give you a greater range of stuff as a rewards. So the rewards get better as the sector goes down. The second way in Conquest to get it is through the box. So you can see if you max out the box here, get the red, you can see that you would get one, as far as I can tell, it's one Datacron, 10 Mark 1s, 35 Mark 2s, 50 Mark 3s, 10 Alteration Mark 1s, 35 Alteration Mark 2s, 50 Alteration Mark 3s. You get 2.8 million of the data caches. So that is pretty much Datacrons in its full. You should not ignore them. It is a very good leadership. And if somebody has, example, for a Ray, there's little chance you'd get through that. So you should, if you're trying to keep up with people who do something like that, I would say the minimum is what you should be doing. And the minimum is using your, and I know this is very short-sighted for some people who use the shard shop currency, but using the shard shop currency to get, to get that. Plus, frankly, I'm going to be from here on out using my ally points, strictly speaking, for only Datacrons at this point, because I was using them to get more shard currency and that to use to get some gear, but things have changed a little bit where it's much more important and much more, you can get some serious amount of Datacron material with 7 days worth of, yeah, you can get 25, 25, 25 of Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, and then alterations as well, 25, 25, 25. That's enough to gear up to about level 4 on a Datacron, level 3, level 4. So it's well worth probably using getting this stuff instead of, in fact, do I have enough? That's alterations. Yeah, I don't want alterations right now. I got enough of that. Yeah, so it's well worth using those two currencies to buy the Datacron material. And then lastly, yeah, Conquest. If they're making you do Conquest, they're making you take it more seriously, which I know some people were already down about the Conquest. I find that what they did, adding the bonus match on each sector, I actually find that a little fun, in my opinion. I mean, it's just I don't have to sit there and do a random battle anymore to get the sector 2. I need some droid kills, right? So I don't have to sit there and get 21 droid kills without actually earning anything. I at least get some Datacron currency. 21 droid kills is probably about 7 more battles, 5 to 7 more battles, and I basically get some currency. I'll get some currency on Datacrons and maybe upgrade a Datacron or something, but at least it doesn't feel useless, worthless to just sit there and randomly just pick a battle and at least I can find some currency with it. So I actually think what they did of adding the bonus battle, that was actually, I actually like that a lot. So anyways, that's Datacrons in their full. Good luck, and may the force be with you.